Hi everyone!
Hi!
I hope you guys can hear us well. So many people!
It's me.
Actually, if you guys could verify in the chat that you can hear us, I would really appreciate it.
Yes, if you can hear us, that would be great. Tell us, can you hear both of us?
All that good stuff. Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Oh,
Really
fantastic.
appreciate it.
Okay, oh my gosh, so many follows. Oh my gosh. Moonshroom, Real Shin 1 and Fearless Night. Oh my gosh, so many. I can't keep up. The Baby Gaga. Thank you.
Thank you.
4 of us. We are 2, not 4.
I'm not sure who the other 2 are, but I'm a little nervous now.
Oh my gosh. Recember, Jade King, and Octaples, Igor, the Baby Gaga, Kitty Ships, XB, Big Beers, Slipshred, Gwen Gen 10. I'm sorry if I missed any one of you. Thank you very much. I hope you guys are excited as we are. Wow, 71 people! Holy shoot! Thank you guys! KX Rachi, City Escaped. Thank you very much. Well, we're gonna have a panel here for DazeCon, so I'm going to drop the link to DazeCon in chat. I think that's a very good idea for people who are coming from my end. Let's see here. Can we link that? Probably. Can someone drop the link in chat? That would be good. Yes. For Kagepro Project Con on Discord. We will do a short summary for people who are not aware of what that is during the panel. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Is everyone ready? Because, yeah, it is past hole on whatever hour you guys are at. I'm in Europe, so this is evening for me. But I think that we can probably start. Don't you think so?
I agree.
Yes. Okay. Amazing. Let's see, I'm just gonna have it correct. I have so many things up. Ah. Okay, this should be working. Okay, welcome to our panel. It's called Dumb Ways to Die, Kagepro Project Edition. I am the Fab Hawk, and this is...
I'm Feather.
Yes! So, as I said, this is a Kagepro Project panel for DazeCon on Discord. Feel free to chat while in the chat while we are doing our panel. We love doing that. We will also have a Q&A at the end. I have temporarily stopped most of the channel points just so it won't be too disruptive. You can all drown me in hydration afterwards. That's fine. And rickroll me as well, but maybe not before. Oh, Neko Magica, I'm happy you could finally join. I'm sorry it didn't load right away. But yeah, anything else we need to say before we start? Hopefully anything internet should be fine. I sometimes have a 30-second cutout like once a week on the internet. If that happens, please just refresh, we will be back. Probably will not happen. Knock on wood. Knock on all the wood. Thank you. Oh, there's an ad! Okay, we will make sure everyone can see it before we start then. Stupid ad. Ah. Hopefully that will not take. How long are the ads here? Like 30 seconds? Something like that? Yeah, maybe. Anyway, this panel is not super long, so we have time to wait for any ads that will appear. Oh, she is? Oh, we will turn her up. Okay. Ninth, can you talk a little bit now?
I am absolutely talking. I am talking so that you can figure out how loud I am.
Yes. This is because she is on my desktop audio and I am on my mic.
It's worth noting that we are not physically in the same space at all.
Oh no, we are not on two entirely different continents.
So, you know, we appreciate your patience.
Yes. It's also why if we talk over each other, it's because of lag. Yes. Anyway, sorry, that should be everything here from the beginning. As you guys can see, it's called Dumb Ways to Die. We have our lab coats because there will be statistics.
Hello,
Hi.
it's me.
Thank you for saying hello. I should I'll keep that hello in. The hello channel points one in. But yeah, we should be starting. So let's see here. Let's do the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, this is a joke panel. We did try our best to be accurate to the source materials, but some of this may not be perfect. You know, lore fans following along, I am looking at you specifically, Yooms. May notice that we have minor continuity errors. I ask you to be patient with us and then correct us, you know, in the Q&A section of the panel if necessary. Also, if you will be bothered by lighthearted discussions of fictional characters dying, in some particularly gruesome ways, please do what you need to do in order to take care of yourself. We don't want anyone accidentally or purposefully triggering themselves during our panel. Thank you so much for your patience.
Yes, because this one is going to be about
Dumb ways to die, so many dumb ways to die.
Really hoping that sound went through, because if not, there would be a very awkward pause. Okay, so a short summary of people who are here and have no clue what we are talking about. Kagepro Project is a multimedia franchise that started out as a Vocaloid series, in which a lot of children die on August 15th and gain powers through snakes. There's also a lot of deaths and time loops involved. All of the songs, or most of them, should be on YouTube, so I highly recommend checking them out. So, also throughout this, as I said, a lot of deaths happen, time loops happen, so a lot of people die, a lot, sometimes several times in the same time loop. And we will be discussing the nature of said deaths. And, oops, here is the table of contents, because we had to make one of those. And we're gonna go through briefly how we got our data, and then how we sorted them. We're going to talk about common deaths, rare deaths, unexpected deaths, worst deaths, mind you, they are very subjective, and deaths by character. And at the end, we will also open a Q&A and just talk a little bit, because this panel will be a little bit shorter than what our previous two panels has been on previous DazeCons.
Okay, so we're going to start out again by talking about our methodology. This is basically how we got our data. So, shout out to the Kagepro Project Wiki, because that's where we checked a lot of our stuff. It's been a while since both of us interacted with some of the media. Getting a hold of some of the novels is really hard if you do not have an endless book budget, etc. So, what we did is we went through, you know, our copies of stuff, Kagepro Project Wiki, you know, some manga scans, which were definitely legal. Don't report us. Anyhow, and made a giant Google sheet stock of every single death in every single route. We tried to be as specific as possible about the manner of death each time. You know, if we knew somebody got murdered, we said murdered, but if we knew somebody got, you know, murdered with a gun, then we went with shot. And we started making our data visualizations. It's worth noting when we're talking about this that some characters die an unknown number of times because their deaths are often shown off screen or implied. Like, we know that in every single time loop, most of the characters die the same way in the backstory, but obviously it isn't shown every single time because that would get super repetitive. There's also times when characters, you know, for example, are definitely murdered because there's a lot of blood happening, but we don't know the means by which they are murdered. We generally represented this as stuff like number equals X. For example, if a character died one time on screen, but we know they died a lot of times off screen, then they'd be X plus 1 deaths. We did count if a character died multiple times for root. We are mostly talking about Konoha here because, Konoha. But, so those got counted as well.
Yep.
Okay, now I'm going to let Hawk take over.
Yes. So, common deaths. So what are the most common ways that characters die in Kagura Project? We're first talking about across all timelines, like a general blanket terms. Droning. It's very common, mostly in backstories. So Momo and Seto in more or less all timelines. I don't think we've ever seen an exception for that in case of like when they are gaining their powers. Truck-kun, of course. Everyone loves and hates Truck-kun. And where Hibiya in Hiyori gets hit and sent into heat haze, they get literal isekai'd into a time loop. Blunt Force, Mary and Shion in the backstory happens. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the subscription. I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you. Yes, Mary and Shion, they do happen to die of Blunt Force in all timelines. Kano happens to be shot in all timelines, and Outer Science happens where, a lot of people die by gun. A lot. Not all the time, though, so. Kanjuro, we also put as a separate one, because, even though he uses different methods, he's still the cause. Well, technically Snake is, but you know. And, of course, we cannot forget the broken keyboard. Yes. Okay. Then we have Ninth, you can take over.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, got distracted by the chat. I do think Kano it's unclear if Kano got stabbed and died or if the shooting was dying, because there was both knives and guns involved in at least some of the timelines, if I'm remembering. We can talk more about that at the end. Anyhow,
yes.
Okay, we're going to talk about the deaths that are depicted in the most timelines. So this is like stuff that happens, on screen in the videos, on the page, in the books, and manga, etc. Truck-kun comes in about 30%, not quite a third of timelines. Hiyori and Hibiya die at least once by getting hit with a truck. We're counting, the one death that happens in real time as opposed to, the infinity deaths that happen inside the heat haze, because we cannot quantify that. In at least 50% of timelines, there is a shooting depicted on screen. Usually that's Outer Science, but not always. In about 40% of timelines, we have somebody get murdered. Murdered is talked about separate from shot, because these are all murders where we don't know exactly what happened. Usually this is Snake of Clearing Eyes killed someone, but it happened partially or mostly off screen, so we don't actually know what he did.
Yeah. Also, Chris, for the rock slide, that happens, but it's not in this part of the statistics, because it is one of the things that kind of always happens, and it could probably have fit in that, actually. You're right.
It probably could have been there. Oh well.
Never mind.
Anyhow, honorable mention goes to the terrorists, who are a frequent cause of death. However, they are frequently off screen. Also, shout out to this guy from the In a Daze movie with eye powers that are never expanded upon or explained. Gotta love him. We don't know the gender. Anyhow.
Yeah. Okay. Moral of the story: don't get murdered. Disclaimer: we understand that being murdered is not something you have the power to avoid, and that it would be very much better if people stopped doing murders instead, but unfortunately, human nature being what it is, that isn't realistic.
Dumb ways to die, so many dumb ways to die.
Rare deaths.
Alright, now we are talking about rare deaths. These are the types of deaths that happen least frequently to people in Kagepro. gonna start out with the slide on deaths that only happen once in one route in the novel. Konoha gets impaled by a tree branch. Because he is Konoha at the time, his snake automatically heals him. Shintaro is super traumatized by the whole thing, but Konoha's fine afterwards. In one route, Ene gives up her snake on purpose to help stop Clearing Eyes. She wants Mary to have it so that Mary can do the stopping thing. While there are a lot of routes in which people lose their stakes, there's not a lot of incidents in which somebody gives it up on purpose with the goal of helping, fix the outer science situation. Finally, despite Haruka being terminally ill in, all timelines, there's only actually one loop in which Haruka dies of illness. He's usually murdered. So...
Yeah. And yeah, no, Cove of Marin, you are correct. I think we mentioned earlier as well. That Rockslide could have been in common death as well.
Mm.
But yeah, we have also surprisingly a rare survival slide. With caveats. So first is Ayano, because she survives because of the way the backstory happens in the manga route, where Mary is with the parents on the rock slide, and both of the parents die, and she never takes suicide to get her snake and get trapped in the heat haze. And Hiyori, in the same loop, is also then never really thrust into. Is she ever thrust into the heat haze? She survives way longer than she normally is, and is not trapped into the heat haze. So
yeah, she goes into the heat haze, but then comes out, and it's worth noting that we said most of Manga Route 2 because they both end up dying at the end of the Route 2 anyway. But they live much longer than they do in any other route.
Yeah. So, those are very interesting. And I think that's all we had there. So, let's go on to the next one, which is Unexpected Deaths. Which deaths are the most surprising? And these are both in context of the viewer and in the context of the characters, depending on the situation. So we have decided to focus on 3. One is Momo gets pushed off a roof. This is very much a surprise for the characters, also us. But the way it is framed in a manga makes it kind of come out of nowhere. Haruka, also, this was mentioned earlier, that he actually dies of his illness. And not because he gets murdered. Which is also in the manga. And how can we not forget Route XX, where Shintaro prevents Konoha's suicide, but gets shot as well. Then...
Okay, now we are really entering subjective times. We talked about it and decided what we thought were the worst deaths. We are expecting some argument over this in the Q&A section.
Yes.
Get your opinions ready for later. Anyhow, so our opinions were, for the absolute worst deaths, were Shion and Shintaro in the light novel. Shion, hear me out on this one, because her manner of death isn't particularly gory. Blunt force is probably not the worst way to go. However, I would term, dying helpless while your daughter is in mortal peril, and in fact does die right after you, to be pretty damn scary. So, I think actually Shion deserves, better than what she gets. As for Shintaro in the light novel, this is light novel spoilers area, so if anybody does not want to know this stuff, you can just mute the Twitch for a second. Yeah, in one of the outer science routes that happens in the light novel, Shintaro gets his throat physically ripped out by sake of Clearing Eyes, with their hand, which I personally think should not happen to anyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were our opinions on worst.
Yes. Also, you're right. Earlier I said route XX for the suicide, and preventing the suicide and then getting shot. That was route 1, not XX. But since they were both talking about it in the same video, I mixed them up. Thank you for calling me out on that. Okay. Honorable mentions.
Route XX edition, because these are both from the music videos Route XX. It's the whole Shintaro kills Ede and then gets so despondent that he kills himself, which I personally think is just kind of terrible, actually. So yeah, those were our picks for worst deaths. With that,
yes, by character. So this one is when we're getting into a bit more specifically about how much each character die and how people die. Some more than others. So first we have the least deaths, which is Haruka, Mary, and Ayano. So as you guys can see here, we are starting to get into the whole lettering. So X is generally what we've been using for backstory deaths, the one that gives you snakes, sort of, or just like in Haruka's case, just dying and turning into Konoha. Haruka has a +1 because it's the one that is different, which is when he actually dies of his illness. Mary, X +0. She's always the one to turn back time in the timelines, so she never really gets killed beyond the backstory. Ayano as well, X, because, you know, she jumps off the roof. Except for the manga route. That's why it's +1. Most unique deaths. Here we have chosen to put Ene/Takane, Konoha, and Shintaro. So, Ene usually... Here you also can see we have A. A is outer science deaths. Just for reference, so that's why they are X plus A plus a number, which is the number of different kinds of deaths we have found, like that are specific. We can, afterwards, in the Q&A, we can also switch over to the Excel sheet we have made, so we can show you guys a bit more crazy math equations, yes! We can show you guys a bit more specific what each of these numbers represent. Ene usually, as her unique death, she usually gets destroyed or deleted as Ene. And, you know, Takane usually dies in the past when she gets murdered, or I think there's the one case where she takes suicide. Yeah. Konoha, he does not have an X, because the X is what creates him. And plus A, because that is, unlike everyone else, he usually gets possessed. And we count that as a death in this. And then 8 is the number of how many deaths he has, unique deaths, and I think it is the most deaths that are unique that we can find, compared to everyone else. He's not on the most deaths list, we'll get to that. And Shintaro again, he also has 7 ways that he dies, but he also does not have an X because he doesn't get his powers in the usual way, as we all know. So yes, then we get to, or you can say,
Blindfold Trio. These guys kind of fall in the middle ground in terms of how many unique deaths they have. Again, we're using X for backstory deaths, A for outer science deaths where we know they died but it wasn't depicted on screen, and then the number is the number of times we have an on-screen death for them that we can see and count. So Kido died 5 times that were depicted on screen or in the novel. Seto died 4 times, and Kano also died 5 times. Finally, we gave Momo her own slide because she is a good girl and also because that was how the characters sort of sliced out. Momo died similar numbers of times to the Mikakushi trio. She's pretty mid in how often she dies, but, you know, she's trying her best.
yes.
Finally, we have our winners for most total deaths, Hibiya and Hiyori. Love that this is happening to the youngest characters. Hibiya has, so in this one, we have X, meaning, you know, backstory deaths. A meaning deaths in outer science, and Y meaning the number of times that they experience the feeling of dying while in the heat haze loop. Technically, the Y are not real deaths in the sense that they didn't die in real life. But I don't know. I think if I was, hallucinating or dreaming, getting hit by a truck repeatedly, eventually that would sort of start to count for me at least. So yeah. In addition to his portrayed all of the events in which he is implied to die, Hibiya has 4 deaths. Hiyori only has 1 showed death outside of the backstory ones, but that's just because usually Hiyori is killed in the backstory. In terms of how many deaths they actually have in comparison to each other, Jin literally has not given us enough information to know that. We just know they both died a lot.
Yeah, so thank you guys. This was the main part of our panel. It is a little bit shorter than what it usually was. But yeah, no, we hope you guys liked it. This is our socials. We also have work cited, which is not a lot compared to the last times, but the last times we actually had a bit more theory and other things to actually cite. So we used the fandom wiki a lot. Thank you, wiki. You were amazing. And also, we need to say thanks to the people who made the background stuff because, credits where credit is due. Mm-hmm. Yay! Okay, who is ready for Q&A? I am. We have a lot of time, actually, before the next things that's happening. So if people still do have discussions and want to call us out on things, I did see some stuff in the chat that I think you guys were probably correct on. Also, let me put back on some of the... I'm going to so regret this, but I'm going to put hydrate on again.
Okay. You want to put up our Excel sheet as the background, or do you want to leave it on the current slide?
Let's see here if we can get this one up to work correctly. Can you guys see stuff? Yes, you can. And I'm gonna just shove it down a little bit.
Yeah, currently we're blocking some stuff.
Yeah, that should kind of work-ish. Okay. Haha. Does the... Oh, thank you guys for already hired. Does the ending in a day's count when the bomb underneath the mall is shown to tick down before abruptly cutting off? Yes! Actually, give me a moment. I'm gonna do both of those hydrates. Okay, 3 hydrates. You know what, Ninth? You can answer that question. I have zoomed in on it kind of while I go and get more water.
Okay, have fun. So yeah, we actually discussed this a lot while we were talking. We decided that because the show cut off before it, that
nice. I think the hydrate is drowning you out as well.
Yeah. Turn hydrate back off, please. I think it makes me better. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm going to drink all of those, but I'm going to take them off for a moment. Thank you, guys.
We're gonna start the Cobb Crab presentation will be posted on YouTube and will be archived on Twitch. It will be also archived on the DazeCon channel, so you will definitely be able to access this afterwards if your friend missed the con and wanted to see the panel.
Okay, how many hydrates is this? 1, 2, 3, 4,
I don't know.
5,
I'm not counting
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20! Is that just chug a glass by that point?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna chug a glass. I'm sorry, you guys, that I don't have a web camera on, so you can't see it, but trust me, I'm drinking it. Yes, but we can also see what I'm still drinking. We have, in movie timeline, we have explosion. Because that was the bomb. I'm trying to chug! Thank you. Also, does Asami's backstory fatal wounds count as deaths? I don't think we have added that as a thing.
So we did not add that because, she basically yeeted herself into unwanted eternal life like 5 seconds after the fatal wounds. However, I guess if we were going to count those, I think it would be legitimate, in which case she would be right there with, her granddaughter in terms of only backstory deaths, no present time deaths.
Also, minor, how does Mary not die in the explosion? Well, she should have probably, but I mean, she's the one doing the actual time loop thing, so she, by definition, couldn't have died.
Either that or, the In a Days movie is the true ending of Kagepro, and actually, after all this shenanigans, our main characters were killed by random terrorists. I don't know.
Another nomination for brutal death in Outer Science. I think Sato is seen with his head ripped off, and also one of the most standout deaths for me was in the manga, Kano pretending to be Mary and getting his neck snapped. Wow.
Yeah. Neither of us have been able to read the manga in its entirety because it's really hard to get for both of us for various reasons. So, congratulations. That is much worse than any of the deaths that we knew about. I don't think that was mentioned in the sections of the wiki that we read, and I have never read that manga chapter.
Yeah, as for Seto, I think we were trying to dissect the Outer Science music video, but some of the actual visuals were really hard to, be specific on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Also, Adept Arcanist. Maybe the explosion is enough to kill Konoha given Mary awakening. I don't know. Since it gets cut off, we don't know if Konoha survived or not. I think we put him on dying from it. But I mean, he would still just come back probably.
Also, Adept Arcanist, your previous question about counting timeline resets as a cause of death. So, because Mary, when she resets the timeline, she generally takes everybody's snakes. I think usually we just kind of assume that most of the time when Mary resets, everybody is dead for at least a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit ambiguous and some of the time loops are less clear. Hiyori may not have died at the end of that time loop, but if nothing else, that she got reset back into, her normal position as stuck in the days eternally along with the Ayano. Dear.
Yeah.
Okay. Jastertown, do you mean the version of Kagero Days that was made by Wan Yanpu before they got to officially work with Jin? If so, yeah, that one's not canon, but the description of events that happens in both the songs, multiple dying in the time loop is shown in other media. It just doesn't look exactly like the way that Wan Yanpu described it in the videos.
Mm-hmm. Cove of Marin. By the way, Hibiya and Seto's survival in novel route is props for even longer than Ayano and Hiyori's survivals in manga route 2. I've been trying to, because I don't have the last volume of the light novel, so I haven't been able to read it. I've only been able to go on the novel, on the wiki, kind of, to look for when people are dying in the novel. So, you might be very right. Let's see here also, what did we write for the novel route? We don't have everyone dying in that.
Yeah, no, they were nominating it for unexpected survival because they lasted so much longer than the rest of the group. I can see where you're coming from on that one, but because neither of us have been able to read that section of the novels in its entirety, it was not our focus. So thank you for bringing that one up. That was a good one. Also, Jastertown, yeah, the Iron Bar's death is not strictly canon. But there's at least the manner in which it's depicted in the video, but it is also mentioned in the lyrics, so it is.
I think also it's isn't it shown in anime?
Yes, it is shown in the anime, so it's canon in the anime. Whether it's canon to the music route or not is a different question.
Yeah. Also, there was a thing further up I wanted to answer. I think Yaki's life. Yeah. Also, by Adept Arcanist again. Also, I think Yaki's life gets turned into an immortal snake is particularly interesting cause of death. I think we counted that. Yes, we have counted that as a death.
That was the +1 on Ayano's death count because the rest of them were her backstory of suicides. This one was her, deciding to cease living as a human being and become a snake. Also, shout out to Yumes and Dakota Marin for writing the novel details on the wiki. You saved our lives because I only have one of the novels, and Celia is also, my co-panelist is also missing some of them. So sorry.
That's okay. So, but yeah, let's see here. Thank you, Macabre Crab. It was very nice to see you. We're probably gonna be up for like another 5 to 10 minutes before we are closing this panel, unless anyone else are leaving as well, because we do have what's coming after this. I think it's what is in the schedule for after this.
I took down the schedule to put down all our stuff, put up all our stuff. So I don't.
Oh, it's the reanimate stuff. So everyone is invited to do that and probably want to go for that, but we still have a little bit of time before that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Pixie String, STR. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. Once I saw a theory that Seru gives Seto particularly rough deaths in Outer Science and the manga and stuff in order to taunt Mary, which is just cruel. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, no, it lines up with what we've seen in canon, and also, it's very strongly, if it's not directly stated in the novels, it's very strongly implied in every other media that, the reason that, Clearing Eyes kills the other members of the Dawn in the way that he does is specifically to mess with Mary. He could kill them, pretty fast in a lot of more surreptitious ways, but he is out here doing blood and science and gore because that it makes it more likely to make Mary do what he wants her to do.
Yeah. Although Cheesecake Witch, thank you for stopping by. It was very nice.
Okay, so Manga Route 2 and Manga U2 on the chart. So what's going on with that is that there are 2 routes in the manga that are unknown. So Manga Unknown 1 and Manga Unknown 2. Okay, while Manga Route 2 is the one that's mostly shown on screen. The one with, Ayano eventually turning into Yaki and Hiyori surviving and all that.
Yep. So these are very short. And the manga route 1 is, I think it was implied that was route XX. We just saw it as a manga.
Yeah. So we didn't do a lot of counting with that one because it was implied it was XX, but we didn't actually see any on-screen deaths. Mm-hmm. And in Manga Route 2, we know Shintaro died, but we don't know exactly the manner of death.
Yeah, so, and since we then have another XX here, we decided to just not count it here, because then it would be counted twice, even though it was implied to be the actual exact same timeline.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not entirely clear whether manga Route XX is a different Route XX than the one shown in the music videos, or if the manga Route XX is just depicting the music video route. So we didn't want to count it twice.
Yeah, do you plan to share the Excel file? I mean, I can download it and share it probably on my Tumblr. Or where else? Where would it be more easily accessible for you guys? And I can see where I can throw it out.
If you want, maybe we could just put it on Google Drive if I make a copy of it and put it on the one that doesn't have my real name on it.
Yeah, we can do that.
You have a Google Drive like that? Yeah, we'll figure it out and we'll try to get it up and available for you guys by the end of the con. We'll put a link to it someplace that should be easy to find.
Yep.
And then we will also link it on Tumblr. Yeah, y'all saw our Tumblr addresses. If not, they both. My name is the same everywhere, and Hawk is hawking a tree over there.
Yes, this is also this is my art thing, but I'm hawking a tree on my main one. But it's fine. You can find me. It's not too hard. I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know. But yeah, no, we will share it. It is. Yeah, that's not too hard. But yeah, no, guys, thank you very much. Unless there's anything else you guys want to discuss, I think we can probably wrap it up around here. This has been a very fun panel. I hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves.
Thank you so much for coming, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us and having some fun discussion.
Yes. Thank you guys. It was very fun. Hopefully you guys did hear the sound I had on my stream deck, because like I couldn't tell if you guys could hear it, but you know. Thank you guys, and I hope you guys have a very fun rest of the panel. If you guys don't have access to the Discord server for this con, please just search for DazeCon on Tumblr and you will find it. Thank you guys for all of the follows and all of the subs as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it very much. I will, as you guys saw, we have our links here. I do art and game streams on Twitch. Untitled does Fix on AO3, and we both have a Tumblr. So I also have an artist alley on Discord on the con. So feel free to check it out. And guys, have fun with the Reanimate.
Yes. Okay,
Yes.
Before we head out, Potato, your question about Summertime Record being added to Project Sakai, that's kind of outside of the scope of our panel, but like if that is in fact happening, please let me know. I want to see it. Anyhow. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, with that,
Thank you.
I'm going to let Hawk wrap up. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, and have a nice evening or day. Bye-bye.